back here for chapter 22. Chapter 22, we will be reading from Maxie's perspective. After Drita calls me, I go straight into the kitchen. "Who was that?" asks Grandma, drying off a plate. "Oh, that girl Drita," I say, trying not to sound excited. "She invited me to her house." Grandma doesn't say nothing, just reaches up into the cabinet and puts the plate on the rack. "Well, can I go?" I ask her, even though I know I've got pretty much no chance. But Grandma surprises me. "Not up to me," she says. Who is it up to then?" I ask. Grandma looks at me like I am the world's biggest dummy. "What do you think?" she says. I always thought that when my mother died, my grandma just automatically took over the job of being boss of the family. But sometimes my daddy's more the boss than my grandma. "Why don't you ask him?" she says, nodding her head toward the den. Suddenly, that den door looks like the mouth of a lion's cave to me, and I don't want to go in case I get my head bit off. I pick up the dish towel from the edge of the sink. "That's all right," I say. "I got chores to do." Grandma takes the towel right back. "No, you don't," she says. "Go on in." I sigh. My daddy's been so busy with his new job, it seemed like he was never going to get around to talking to me about that fight. Or that's what I was hoping anyway. I knock on my daddy's door, soft as a mouse. Maybe I'll be lucky and he'll be taking a nap or something. "Yes?" my daddy growls. I can tell from the way he's got papers and things spread all over that he's been paying the bills. "I need to talk to you," I say. "So talk," he says without looking up. Drita invited me over to her house. I'm supposed to be writing my social studies report on her. For school. "When?" my daddy says. "On Saturday." "I see," he says. But the way he says it makes it sound like he doesn't see nothing at all, or even want to. "Please, Daddy, it's for school." "Drita was one of the girls involved in that fight, wasn't she?" my daddy asked. "Yes, but it wasn't her fault. Brandy was picking on her. She even hit her when she was down, Daddy." "Your grandmother told me that part." "See, Brandy wasn't playing fair. She broke the rules, and then she was being a bully. Brandy was just mad because she couldn't show off." "That did not give you the right to hit her, Maxie." I never understand why grown-ups always talk about having the right, when they should be talking about having the wrong. Everyone knows that slapping your former best friend upside her head is a bad idea. "You think I don't know that?" I say. "Quite frankly, Maxie, I don't know what's going on in your mind anymore." It really makes me feel bad when my daddy says that. I can't help it when the waterworks start. I thought I was doing something nice for once, but instead all I did was make a big war between Drita and the rest of the girls in my class. I never even hit anyone before, least of all someone I once considered my friend. "I think Brandy hates me now," I tell him, feeling about as bad as I can be. "Oh, come over here for a second," Daddy says, kind of gruff. "Why?" "You got an eyelash. In my family, whenever you lose an eyelash, you get to make a wish." I go over to him and my daddy takes it off my face. "Make a wish," he says, and the next thing I know, my wish comes true because I'm sitting on his knee just like old times. "Daddy, I don't fit in no more," I tell him, but I'm just playing like I'm embarrassed. "Yes, you do. And it's anymore, not no more. You know that. If there's one thing that gets on my nerves, it's hearing my daughter use slang," he says. "Sorry, Daddy," I tell him. Out of his pocket, he pulls a clean handkerchief so I can blow my nose. "Now tell me, if you were in the middle of this situation now, what could you do differently?" he asks when I'm done. "Nothing," I tell him. "Think, Maxie," is all he says. So I do. "Well, I guess I could have run and gotten a grown-up," I say after a minute. "I could have told them what Brandy was doing, but then Drita would have really gotten beat up." "It's possible." "But that's not fair," I said. "No, it's not, that's true, but if you hit someone, that only makes it worse." "So I should just stand by then and watch it happen?" "No, you've got to think of some other way to make Brandy stop." "But that's impossible." "It's not impossible, it's just hard." "Okay then. Very, 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 very hard." "Yes, it is very, 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 very hard to walk away from a fight when you know you're right, but that's what you have to do." "Why?" "Because that is the only way to stop the fighting. Between two people, or between two armies for that matter, one side has to stop and say, 'We won't do this anymore,' and let Drita get her butt kicked. If that's what it takes, because you know what? We've got laws for people who act like Brandy. What's the consequence in your school for hitting? Losing your recess time for 2 weeks, plus they call your house. Then that's the law of the schoolyard, and that's what civilization is about." It all seems so obvious, but at the same time, so big that I just sit there for a moment on my daddy's lap thinking about stuff. Finally, my daddy says, "Now, about Saturday." "Yeah?" I say, holding my breath. "You can go," he says, "but otherwise you are still grounded, and your grandma has to come with you now. Now, you better go finish your homework. It's getting late." I'm not about to argue with that. I put my hand on the doorknob, but then I remember something else I want to say. "Hey, I'm sorry I was rude to your friend Lisa, and her son," I tell him, and I mean it too. "If you like her, I guess she can't be that bad." "She isn't that bad," he says. "I like her a lot, and I want you to try to like her too." "Okay, I will, and I'm really sorry about her son. I'm really sorry for calling him a chump." "It's all right. Everyone makes mistakes, even my beautiful daughter," he says, grinning at me. That's when I noticed the t-shirt that he's got on, the one I gave to him for Christmas last year. "World's Best Dad" is written right across the chest. I think to myself, you can say that again. So friends, the question I'm going to leave with you here is, why do you think that Maxie was so nervous to go into her dad's den?